Almost got a little too close to the microphone as I was singing. That would have been bad. I apologize if you heard any of my actual singing voice. Welcome to the Sunday morning worship service at DuPage Unitarian Universalist Church. My name is Bridget Coleman, and I am a member of the Board of Trustees. Unitarian Universalism is a faith tradition committed to creating a just and flourishing world for all people. Our Universalist theology tells us that every person is worthy of love. Thus, when we say, whoever you are, wherever you are on life's journey, you are welcome here, this is our message of love to you, inviting your whole self into this space to help us co-create a world centered on our values. We invite you to learn more about us and consider joining this community to enact our values of equity, justice, transformation, pluralism, interdependence, and generosity. General Assembly is the annual meeting of our Unitarian Universalist Association. Delegates attend from churches across the country and beyond for workshops and to do the business of our denomination. This summer, GA will take place in Baltimore, Maryland from June 18th through the 22nd. Registration is now open, including housing reservations. Delegates are wanted to represent our congregation. GA is an amazing experience in person, but it can also be experienced online from home with access to the workshops and business sessions. And a delegate can even attend online business sessions only for free. An email went out this week with links to registration, scholarships through the UUA and DUUC, and application for delegate status. We encourage all who are planning to attend GA to apply to be a delegate. And now Caroline has one more announcement for you.
Yes. In a moment, after our time for greeting our neighbor, Vera, our pianist, will play a prelude for the service. Our prelude today is "The People United Will Never Be Defeated," a 1975 piano composition by the American composer Frederick Rzewski. The song on which the Variations is based is one of the many that emerged from the Unidad Popular coalition in Chile between 1969 and 1973. You may remember, prior to the overthrow of the Salvador Allende government. Rzewski composed the Variations in September and October 1975 as a tribute to the struggle of the Chilean people against the newly imposed repressive regime of Augusto Pinochet. And now I invite you to turn to your neighbor or someone greeting each other throughout the chat. If you are online, greet someone you did not come with a wave or a good morning greeting.
We light our chalice today for resistance with these poetic words entitled Inauguration 2025 by Lauren Brands. In a time of hate, love is an act of resistance. In a time of fear, faith is an act of resistance. In a time of misinformation, education is an act of resistance. In a time of poor leadership, community is an act of resistance. In a time like this, joy is an act of resistance. Resist, resist, resist.
Good morning. Welcome to this place of love, this place of communal flourishing. We gather to open our hearts, to expand our minds, and to see the sacred within each other. Come, let us worship together.
Robert Scrocki sends his love and this poem. Digging deep inside this morning, curious what I'll find. Perhaps nothing. No, not nothing, worries. If I wasn't worried, how arrogant would I be? My every judgment stands on the edge of error. Evil is real, and it lies in the godlike arrogance of our judgments. Humility, scientific skepticism, is such a precious virtue, and the intrinsic value of every individual is so necessary to continually affirm.
Please rise in body or spirit and join us in singing hymn number 150 on Circle Round for Freedom.
Good morning. Please join me together as we say the mission statement of our congregation. We gather as an inclusive community to grow in character, mind, and spirit, and to transform the world toward fairness, love, and compassion.
Hello, I'm Kay Richards. I've written a couple of haiku poems for the subject today. The first one is on revolution and resistance. Pavement seething with minuscule activity, ants battle for turf. The second poem is on justice. Peace pole stands watch over labyrinth, quiet reflection.
Our vision of beloved community is rooted in the relationships that we have with one another, our world, and creation. Each week we offer the opportunity to share our joys and concerns aloud here from the pulpit. Today's flowers were given by Alexis Trocki in celebration of her little sister Jessica's 40th birthday. I also have one sorrow today. Former member Jan Berry shares that her husband Phil Berry had a massive stroke this past Thursday and passed away. Phil was a very active member of the Youth Religious Education Program and was an OWL instructor and high school youth advisor for many years. He will be missed by our community. Many of you may be feeling, as I am this week, maybe hit by a bulldozer a bit. We know that there are so many unknowns, but one thing is very clear. Our community knows that belonging is not something that you should be given, but is automatically a part of who you are when you enter this space. You own your bodily autonomy, and whoever you are, whatever queerness or transness or femaleness or childness you are, you belong in this space. Our meditative prayer today is a poem from Mary Oliver. I invite you to reflect on it with me. The summer day. Who made the world? Who made the swan and the black bear? Who made the grasshopper? The grasshopper, I mean, the one who has flung herself out of the grass, the one who is eating sugar out of my hand, who is moving her jaws back and forth instead of up and down, who is gazing around her with her enormous and complicated eyes. Now she lifts her pale forearms and thoroughly washes her face. Now she snaps her wings open and floats away. I don't know exactly what a prayer is. I do know how to pay attention and how to fall down into the grass, how to kneel down in the grass, how to be idle and blessed, how to stroll through the fields, which is what I have been doing all day. Tell me, what else should I have done? Doesn't everything die and at last, and too soon? Tell me, what is it you plan to do with your one wild and precious life?
It is time to gather, and I would like to invite our kids and young at heart to come forward and join me up here for a story. Come on over. Annika, come on over. You're going to want to be over here because there's going to be pictures on the wall too. So you want to be able to see those. So today, we're celebrating imagination. The ability to see things not just as they are, but as they could be. Imagination helps us dream a better world, solve problems, and even bring joy to others. So, what do I have here? It's a spoon. It's not a trick question. However, what could it be? It could be a magic wand. It could be a bridge for little creatures. It could be a catapult. What else do you think it could be? Ash? A drumstick. A drumstick, absolutely. So what if we used our imagination not just for fun, but to make the world a better place? What if we imagined a world where no one felt alone, where kindness was everywhere? What would that look like? What would that look like? Maybe houses for everyone. Or talking animals. A kindness machine. A world where people understand each other. Any other thoughts? All right, wow. Free ice cream every day. Every day. These are all wonderful dreams. And you know what? Some of the greatest changes in the world started with someone imagining something new. Did you know that every song that has ever been sung, every piece of art that has ever been hung, every dream that's ever been dreamed, they all began in a place not so easily seen, at the fantastic Bureau of Imagination. Welcome to the fantastic Bureau of Imagination. Oh, sorry, apologies, but humans are not allowed to see the outside of our secret headquarters. It is highly classified. You'll just have to imagine it. Some young humans have mailed us art to show what they think our building looks like. Here are some of their drawings. Perhaps there's a tiny door on the moon, or it's hidden in toadstools, or a volcano. They're always wrong. Most of our agency business is handled by curious little creatures known as figments. Every figment you'll meet has a special agent and carries a very official Bureau of Imagination badge. So this is Sparky. He's the figment responsible for all of our mail here. Every letter, package, idea, or complaint coming in or out of the fantastic Bureau of Imagination must pass through his office. And as you can imagine, he is a very busy little figment. He is also very good at his job, but there is something the agents here do not know about him. Sparky loves to write poetry, and when not delivering the mail, he writes poems about brave figments throughout history. He writes about his dear friend Rascal the Dream Puppy. He writes about all the big feelings inside of him. He writes poems about how scary it would be to share his poems. You see, Sparky has never shared his writing with any figment or human, gnome, dragon, or bug ever. Instead, he throws himself into his very big job. Life is busy for Sparky. He always starts the day by going down the official tubes, whoosh, through the whooshcalator, over the cave of untold stories, past Brenda, she never gets mail, and makes delivery after delivery to agents throughout the Fantastic Bureau of Imagination. The figments of the Department of Dreams are always excited to see Sparky. His magic mailbag can carry dreams of all sizes. The figments cheer anytime he delivers new equipment to the Department of Noticing. These agents listen for wishes as they're made on birthday cakes, dandelions, or stars in the sky. Ideas from all over the world are delivered to the makery, and the figments in this office can experiment and create samples of anything that can be imagined. One of Sparky's favorite days was when the agents created a plant that grew popsicles, or a flying 1980s station wagon, and a rabbit with a beautiful singing voice. Sparky never leaves the makery without making a pickle sandwich. Busy figments need to eat. Once all the mail is sorted, stacked, and delivered to each of the Bureau offices, look at all the offices he delivered to. And these are just the ones that I can show you. The Office of Interest, the Department of Doodles, the Agents of Awe, the Office of Optimism, the Forging Figments, and the Sea of Searching. Sparky sits, enjoys his sandwich, and writes a poem. At least this is what Sparky did every single day at the Fantastic Bureau of Imagination until today. Today, Sparky went down the official tubes, whoosh, through the whoosh-colator, and over the exploding cave of untold stories. Wait, exploding? Sparky froze. He had never spoken to Brenda. Each day, he'd been secretly relieved that she did not receive mail, and he was frightened by her teeth and scales. He imagined she might eat him, or laugh at his hat, or laugh while eating him and his hat. Though very much afraid, he knew something had to be done. Surprising rascal, and even himself, Sparky dove down to help. The cave of untold stories is overflowing, cried Brenda. The entire Bureau of Imagination could collapse. All the stories that have yet to be told in the world, all the songs that have not yet been sung, all the parties yet to be planned, and all the problems yet to be solved. They were all pouring out. If only there was a way to let humans know, said the troubled dragon. Ideas are not just meant for having and holding, but for sharing and living and doing. Sparky tried to put some of the cave pieces in his official Bureau mailbag, because being a magic bag, it was able to hold more than most bags, but even it was not enough. And he looked at all the wonderful things that had been imagined, beautiful symphonies, performances and plays, marvelous inventions, ideas for brightening days. All these wonders were just hiding in a cave. And as Sparky gazed at this mess, his eyes noticed something familiar. Mixed in the pile of possibilities was a large stack of poems he recognized immediately. "Oh no," he said, "part of the problem is me." So he flew to his office and quickly began to write. "Hello, humans. We need you to be bold. There are too many untold stories. There's still so many good things, and they haven't been done. Agents of imagination are needed, and you can be one. This is your invitation. Tell fear to get out of the way. Beautiful tomorrows can begin today. We must all dare to dream, but must also do. For dreamers are many, but doers are few. Imaginatively yours, Sparky, official male figment, Fantastic Bureau of Imagination." This poem did not go into Sparky's stack of hidden notebooks, Sparky asked the figments in the makery to create copies, and every agent became a recruiting agent. Rascal led a team of dream puppies to deliver the message wherever they could. And some humans found invitations under their pillows, and some humans found reminders in nature, and some humans found the message in a picture book. Thanks to a lot of imaginative and hardworking agents and dream puppies, Sparky's words found their way all over the world. Soon, untold stories were finally being shared, songs were being sung, and dances were danced. Problems were being solved, and the cave began to calm. Everyone gathered to celebrate 3 brave agents, a dragon, a dream puppy, and a little male figment. The heroes were each presented with the highest medal of honor an agent can receive. Their work had added more imagination to the world and more agents of imagination too. And they all lived happily and imaginatively ever after until Brenda ate Sparky. No, I'm just kidding. We imagined things we couldn't see. We worked together and made them be. Maybe this is how the whole world mends. Wherever there is fear, let us imagine friends. And night falls at the Fantastic Bureau of Imagination. Apologies if you're hoping that you're going to get a glimpse of our building, but it's classified. Remember? Plus, it's much too dark to see it now. You'll just have to imagine there is light. That's what a good agent does. So get to it. There's plenty of light left to imagine and dreams to make come true. Dream bright, brave agents. Dream and do. So congratulations, you have been chosen to join the ranks of the Fantastic Bureau of Imagination. So step 1, create a badge. Using whatever resources are available to you, paper, cardboard, lettuce, whatever, design your official Agent of Imagination badge. Wear it with pride. Step 2, accept your mission. Say the official Bureau of Imagination pledge. Some agents choose to find imaginative ways to say it, like standing on their heads or singing it with a full orchestra. You may choose any way, but say it along with me. I will imagine, I will help, and I will play. Beautiful tomorrows begin with what I do today. Step 3, invite your friends. Think of friends and family you can recruit to help you add joy to the world. Send them a letter or a badge. You could even send them this book. Imagination is more than just pretend. It is how we create, solve problems, and dream of what's possible. This week, I invite you to use your imagination for something good. Maybe imagine a new way to help someone, a new way to show kindness, or even a new story to tell. Let's take a deep breath together and send all of our beautiful creative ideas out into the world. May our imaginations help us bring more love, more justice, and more joy into our communities. Let's sing to the children.
Picasso offers that the meaning of life is to find your gift. The purpose of life is to give it away. Giving of our treasure is how we reciprocate the many gifts we are given by this community. Even in an uncertain world, we have so much to be grateful for. Life itself, our planet, love, and each other. Giving is also how we live our values. Each month, we share our offerings with an organization that gives life to these values and makes a difference in the world. This month, our organization is the SMILE Project. It's an initiative of the DuPage Unitarian Universalist Church designed to provide mentoring and work experience to high school students who are not at the top of their class, nor in the bottom quarter, but those who could use encouragement and help to prepare for entering the workforce after high school. As we pass our offering plate, know that it is a vessel that connects us to each other through our gratitude and generosity. So give freely your thankfulness and abundance that our values can forever take hold in this world.
This is a song about community lifting up a struggling individual. Troubles enough for two. What to do? These struggles hound me. You held out your hand and brought an end to my demise. Down and out, it's how you found me, and you wrapped your love around me, took me home. I came home. Trying to break the chains that bound me. You got ways to ground me. Holding on to hope, strength to cope, that's how you found me. Somehow you could see right through to who I am. Tear down the walls again. Now and then they closed around me, facing straight ahead, and now I'm standing on my own. Down and out, that's how you found me, and you wrapped your love around me, took me home. Oh, I came home. Trying to break the chains that bound me. You got ways to ground me. Ooh, 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 reaching out, it's how you found me, and you wrapped your arms around me. Reaching out is how you found me, trying to break the chains that bound me. Down and out is how you found me, and you wrapped your love around me. Reaching out is how you found me, and you break the chains that bound me.
Idleness, a poem. This is the dissonance of safety, the privilege to walk away, the holding of silence, knowing liberation must be next. This is the prayers I say before bed, the kindness pulled from patience, the sharpness of breath, exhales held in sore chest. This is for those who are bracing for impact. When so many have already been hit, and this is just the next wave, is it our responsibility to prepare you for the crash? This is high tide. This is now.
Ladies and gentlemen, we've come to the portion of our service where you are invited to sing along and move. Please stand as you are able and willing. We're going to sing a song called Freedom Now by Tracy Chapman, and it's the song of how Nelson Mandela spent 27 years in prison and was released to become the president of South Africa. So
When I was in 5th grade, learning about the differences and identifying between solids, liquids, and gas, we did a science project with oobleck. How many of you know what oobleck is? All right. Oobleck is a substance made with cornstarch and water, and it's an odd consistency that makes one question the boundaries between solids and liquids. Developing the concept further, our teacher had us imagine what a planet made of oobleck would look like. We had to write a report, draw a picture, and do a presentation on what kind of spaceship we would build to land on a planet and explore it if it was made of oobleck. As much fun as playing with oobleck was, and as much as I love to push my imagination beyond its limits and boundaries, I struggled with this project. Every time I imagined a new feature for my spaceship and went to draw it on my poster board, I thought of a million reasons of why that new feature wouldn't work. There were a lot of unknowns. Did the planet have a solid core and just oobleck on the surface? Or was the entire planet made of oobleck? Because to plan the landing gear on your spaceship, you needed to know those factors, right? How would the spaceship stay afloat if it doesn't land on some sort of landing gear? I mean, come on, the questions were endless. Not only were there too many unknowns, but the logic and the science kept getting in the way. I really just wanted to imagine a spaceship, something new and different. I wanted to explore all of my ideas without limitation. Now, there is, of course, a time and a place for logic and science, for us to do the work by sorting through possibilities with limitations based on what already exists, based on what we know of the world. But our whole society is based upon what is realistic, what is actually possible, not what might be imagined. We don't cultivate our imagination very often. Walter Brueggemann, in his book, The Prophetic Imagination, describes the society that fails to engage in imagination, a society of what he calls royal consciousness. So I'm going to take us on a short journey through Jewish scriptures for a moment to see what Brueggemann was talking about. After the story of the Exodus, where the Hebrew people left enslavement in Egypt, where they wandered in the wilderness for 40 years and then colonized what would become to be known as Israel, the people demanded of God that they wanted a king so they could be like every other nation. They didn't want to stand out and appear to be so different from their neighboring communities. They wanted what others had. Conformity is always a temptation because it seems so easy. And conformity also leads to stability, or at least the illusion of stability. And the people wished for stability, for it was comfortable. They were warned, of course, by multiple prophets that having a king would be a problem. The leaders are corrupted, leaders are corrupted by power and thus lead their people into corruption. They were warned that a king would not be for the common person and that many would suffer. And we know that their first king, Saul, was a failure. He disobeyed God and was replaced by David. And David, while being a flawed human being, remember the story of Bathsheba? Or the very, very horrible story of David's daughter Tamar. David was still considered to be faithful to God. But then came along David's son, Solomon. Solomon was considered to be a great king. He was rich. He made the kingdom rich. He expanded the kingdom. He was well known. He had many wives. His rule was decadent and showy. And it is from this decadence that Brueggemann gets the concept of royal consciousness. First, Solomon countered the economics of equality written into Jewish law with the economics of affluence. The law in Exodus describes a society of abundance for all equally. Instead, Solomon created a society where the wealthy got even more wealthy. Second, Solomon put God in a box. In Jewish tradition, God was described as free, a God that acted when and where God wanted and wished. Now, we Unitarian Universalists historically prescribe to this similar idea, in that we believe that revelation of the holy happens where and when it will. Instead, Solomon made God accessible. He built the temple to house God, literally putting God in a box. And with it, he determined where and when God could be accessed and by whom. The importance of this cannot be emphasized enough in a secular society such as ours. When God is placed in a box by rulers, it's the rulers that get to determine how and when God speaks. By doing this, criticism of the ruler and the ruling class disappears. There is no moral or ethical authority to appeal to, because that authority is now determined by the state. This is what Brueggemann calls a religion of immanence. God is no longer transcendent and free, an authority to appeal to for the moral good. God is in a box. Thus, with the economics of affluence and a religion of immanence, a society of oppression emerges. And together, this is what Brueggemann calls a royal consciousness. He describes it this way. The gift of freedom was taken over by the yearning for order. The human agenda of justice was utilized for security. The God of freedom and justice was co-opted for an eternal now, and in place of passion comes satiation. It's a society. A royal consciousness is a society that thrives on satiation, on comfort, on safety and security, on order. In this satiation, the people were willing to give all their passion and freedom away. I would describe satiation as poverty of the soul, a numbness that exists when we hand over our freedom for comfort, safety, security, order, wealth. Does this seem familiar? Okay. We are experiencing a satiation. There's an exhaustion present, a tiredness of change, a discomfort of the new and unfamiliar, a decadence of ease. With a royal consciousness comes a false contentment of the people. While the rich get richer, as long as the middle is content and is given the illusion of power, the poor can be controlled, and with this comes ambivalence. But we know this cannot last. During and following Solomon's reign, king after king were sent prophets by a God that wasn't in a box. They were sent to counter the narrative of royal consciousness. They were sent to challenge the people. They were sent to liberate the people from their complacency by bringing them freedom, most especially freedom of thought. Brueggemann suggests that we too need to be asking ourselves the same questions the prophets were asking the Israelites. He writes, we need to ask if our consciousness and imagination have been so assaulted and co-opted by the royal consciousness that we have been robbed of the courage or power to think an alternative thought. When we give ourselves away over to royal consciousness, we are giving away our freedom. We're giving away our imagination. We're giving away God. Now, I don't mean God in the traditional sense. After all, many of you do not believe in God at all. I'm thinking here of God as the voice that reveals to us all the possibilities of the world, a voice that calls us to be our better selves. We give up our consciousness and our right to hold our leaders accountable by giving them the moral authority to govern themselves. This is giving up God. It means we cannot hold them accountable to justice, for they hold the moral authority that should be held within the hands of the holy. My Oobleck project was a lighthearted lesson in royal consciousness. I was being forced to conform to what we know of science and logic by my rulers, aka teachers, rather than simply letting my imagination run. Many students were content to live into the parameters of the project. It may have even made them happy to do so. I wanted to live into possibility. It didn't make a difference to me whether it made logical sense. The implementation of my ideas were far less important to me than the dreamings themselves. And this, dear one, is how Brueggemann describes the prophet. The prophet engages in futuring fantasy, he writes. The prophet does not ask if a vision can be implemented, for questions of implementation are of no consequence until the vision can be imagined. A prophet is an artist. A prophet calls upon the people to imagine, to embrace the freedom of what is possible with no limitations. A prophet is asking people to put aside the poverty of their soul, all that comfort and security, for the sake of imagining something new that brings liberation to all people. The artist is a prophet. Brueggemann writes, "Thus every totalitarian regime is frightened of the artist. It is the vocation of the prophet to keep alive the ministry of imagination, to keep on conjuring and proposing futures alternative to the single one the king wants to urge as the only thinkable one." Beloveds, there's a reason I'm thinking about imagination today. After an unprecedented number of executive orders have been signed this week. And let us remember that not many of those orders have no power except what we give them. Birthright citizenship cannot actually be revoked. And declaring two genders is demoralizing, but not actually true, nor does it have power unless it's made into law. In the face of what is before us, Brueggemann tells us that the task of prophetic imagination is to cut through the numbness, to penetrate the self-deception. Brueggemann is asking us to face what is before us and find ways that lead us not towards numbness, but ways we can emerge into life. We must speak our grief, our anger, our fear, our passion into life. What better way to do that than through art? Art, whether in the making or in the viewing, allows our feelings to have expression without overwhelm. It allows us to feel, countering the numbness, the ambivalence of the royal consciousness. Art speaks truth to power in ways that lengthy speeches and loud arguments cannot. Art tells of the future. It envisions for us the many possibilities, and when we let it have free rein, that is no restrictions. We often find ourselves moving towards a future that once seemed impossible. What was once a limitation is imagined into something new. Art gives life to the prophetic. It reveals our numbness, it counters the single oppressive narrative of the powerful, and it expands our horizons beyond our limitations. Today, we've explored in this service art. And as you leave, you can explore our art through our art gallery in Creeves Hall. It is just a beginning for us to collectively imagine our future, to claim our legacy as prophets. It is not the end. Let the art here soothe you, speak to you, inspire you. Open your heart to the music, the words, the pictures of imagination that lead us toward justice. And then go out and create your own art in whatever form you wish. Find the beauty in creation, the art in the trees and snow and flowers all around us. See and feel the world, most especially the grief and anger. Let it sit within you, inspire you, move you. Let it spark your prophetic imagination, that we might sustain ourselves in the work and bring forth the world we wish for all people.
Please rise and bow your spirit and join us in singing hymn number 1015, I Know I Can.
We will go on, beloveds. We will go on and make the art that is needed to send the messages that must be sent, to make the art that will feed our souls, to hold us in hope, and to bring us peace when we need it most. Go forth, make art, find peace, and resist.
We extinguish the light of this chalice, but not the light in our hearts. Until we meet again, may the warmth of our community carry you. So be it.